the absolute answer to this, there's no correct answer, and it depends entirely on individual circumstances. So this is, as I said earlier on, this is not a recommendation. It's just to be aware that if you wished, children could also be part of a self-managed super fund, providing the number of people in that fund doesn't exceed 4 members. So what I would say is it's essential for all trustees to have a good working relationship. You can't have people, loggerheads. Everyone has to get on. And in terms of benefits, in addition to an alternative, long-term decision maker and scale, so the more money in a self-managed super fund per dollar, the lower the costs are in percentage terms. I think something that is very applicable that clients of ours can add is really education of children of the benefits of superannuation and saving for their retirement. A disadvantage of having multiple people in a fund is that every year there is the paperwork that goes with it. Now, not every trustee has to sign every piece of paper when it comes to signing the annual self-managed super fund return, but certainly the annual declaration needs to be signed by all trustees. So if children are all over the state, for example, that's an additional level of work. In saying, if you were looking for children to become a member of your fund, there are obviously a few considerations. So one is there's obviously different objectives, and with different objectives there can be different risk profiles that exist between parents and children. That can often be worked around. An easy way is that you just have separate portfolios. So the children run their portfolio on one account, separate bank account, you run yours, but it's all under the same self-managed super fund structure. Another is who controls the decision-making process. Well, that can, again, be fairly easily addressed. Often the size of the balance will determine who the decision maker is, and that can be just formalised in the investment strategy each year, who's the person that is the go-to for calling the shots. A bigger issue is that if you have more than 2 children, as a husband and wife, or 3 children if it's just the husband or the wife, you can't necessarily have all children as part of the fund. There's a limit of 4 members. And to have some children as part of a self-managed super fund and some not part of it does create a separate set of issues and just needs to be investigated a lot more closely. So that is a potential bugbear. So the key difference there is often the balance of the fund. So if, for example, if a retired couple has $500,000 in assets, that money has to be managed conservatively, because that capital is going to be used at some point, more likely than not, into the future. But if the super fund had a balance of $2 million, all things equal, it's just the income that is going to be utilised each year. So sure, investments can go up or down, but there's not going to be any selling of the investments, at bad time. So generally bigger portfolios have a higher growth weighting in assets, and then it's more likely that children would be part of the one portfolio. They start to contribute into it, as everyone has done at different points to date, and then they share in the returns, for better or worse. For the advantages I outlined before, the cost of running a self-managed super fund, it doesn't really change barely at all. If it's 500,000 or 2 million, the cost is fairly negligible. So the bigger the balance, everyone shares the benefit there. There's an alternate decision maker if for whatever reason someone's not able to make decisions. But I also think the education piece is really important for the next generation as well. And I'll give an example with the next section now as to how that can play a role.